views expressed on this program are not necessarily those of Blue Ridge PBS, the Virginia Department of Education, or the Virginia Society for Technology in Education. Blue Ridge PBS, in partnership with the Virginia Department of Education and in collaboration with VSTE, the Virginia Society for Technology in Education, is talking to leading educators about what gets them energized and how technology is being used to inspire student engagement. This is Activated Learning.
We can put lots and lots of tools or strategies or skills in teachers' hands and students' hands, but if we haven't shifted our mindset in the idea that instructional technology can and should be integrated everywhere and not siloed, that's where the work needs to begin.
I said, man, this individual has such insane power, and educators have such power to make or break somebody's life. And I decided that I wanted to go into education. And
my experience in elementary school and middle school and in high school was that kids with disabilities or special needs were kind of hidden away or not very visible to the rest of the school community.
We need to stop just focusing on teachers who are excited and find ways to work our way into those who just are putting technology off to the side and really encouraging them and giving them a little sparkle of the magic.
I'm Tom Landon from Blue Ridge PBS. Welcome to Activated Learning, a podcast where our goal is to call attention to best practices in instructional technology while also elevating the profession of teaching. This week's program features 2 interviews recorded at the 2023 VSTE conference in Roanoke and a visit to Ware Elementary School in Staunton City to meet a future classroom teacher who started his educational career as a school custodian and is on a path because of a principal who saw his potential to impact students. We start with a chat with instructional coach Hadley Christie of Fredericksburg City Schools, who shares the impact of this year's VSTE keynote speaker, Dr. Catlin Tucker, who was featured in the premiere episode of Activated Learning. I'm joined here by Hadley Christie. And Hadley, just tell me what brings you to VSTE and, kind of where are you from and what are you excited about here?
Thank you. I'm an instructional technology coach in Fredericksburg City Public Schools. So I work with teachers to balance their instruction so that they are leveraging technology in the best way possible for their students. So I'm in one building. I have the pleasure of working with everyone, which is a really cool perspective to be able to have in a building. At the teacher level, we don't. I am here to learn. I've been fangirling Catlin for the majority of yesterday. So my takeaways from her are her mindset shift, thoughts about we can put lots and lots of tools or strategies or skills in teachers' hands and students' hands, but if we haven't shifted our mindset in the idea that instructional technology can and should be integrated everywhere and not siloed, that's where the work needs to begin. So that's been my big takeaway. And then I have a couple catchphrases from her that I'm excited about bringing home as well when the opportunity arises. So.
It has been a shift in instructional technology, certainly since I started, and you may have seen this too, where it used to be it's a computer day, right?
Or you go to computer lab.
Right, to play Oregon Trail in my.
That's
how
yes
old I am.
To Oregon Trail. Yes to Oregon Trail, though. We can't be here talking about computer science and not bring up Oregon Trail. But what an importance computer science has had in your history.
Right, but so now it is about our kids just expect it, right? They expect that there's going to be some technology in their learning.
You can absolutely expect it. There's technology in everything. Everywhere we go, we're looking around and we're seeing digital signage. And so, yes, that doesn't mean that they inherently come with the skills, the background knowledge, or the perseverance sometimes in order to kind of be a debugger and kids can be debugging in the simplest ways. They are doing it all the time, but it isn't necessarily something that they come equipped for.
tell me what you're here to share.
My takeaway to share when I get home is when you're providing students with a choice board, are you putting that thought behind it so that the students truly have an opportunity to have choice over their pace, place, path, and time of getting to the standard at the end. So yes, we're giving them choice boards, but are we putting that thought to really empower students and give them choices, and that is the answer to a lot of the apathy and passivity that we see in our students.
Right, authentic choice, not just
Beautifully
here's 3 things you
said.
have to do, but it's and you could choose when you do them. Instead, it is here are many options for you, and which one speaks to you, right?
And then trust that the student will end up in the right place given this extra control that they have. So we have to release a little bit of the control ourselves as the adults.
That's so hard. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It was nice meeting you.
Next, we traveled to Staunton, where after working for years in restaurants and playing in a local band, Aaron Barmer decided he wanted a professional change that would benefit his community. So he took a job as an elementary school custodian. His principal, Billy Brown, noticed how well Mr. Aaron, as he came to be known, interacted with students and coworkers and had a chat with him about his professional goals. I am here with Billy Brown, who's the principal here, and Aaron Barmer, who we're going to refer to as Mr. Aaron, because that's the way people know him here at the school from here on out. So, Mr. Brown, tell me, where are we and what's special about this place?
So we are at Ware Elementary School, named for Arthur R. Ware Jr. It used to be Westside Elementary and was renamed after a local Staunton educator, Mr. Ware. We are really fortunate to be on the west side of Staunton. We have a beautiful view every morning from the school, and we enjoy what we do. We love the people that we get to work with, and we have really great relationships with our families as well.
Mr. Aaron, tell me how long you've been here and how you started here at Ware Elementary.
Well, sure. My name's Aaron, Mr. Aaron. I am in my 3rd year working for Staunton City Schools. Started working here, I think, 2021 as the daylight custodian. I'd been looking for a city job for a while and was really excited to get hired to work here at Ware. And after 2.5 years, an opportunity came open for me to be an instructional assistant in the special education, our exceptional learners classroom. And the timing worked out pretty well, and with a lot of support from Mr. Brown and staff, everything came together, and I'm really happy with starting my new position.
That's great. And the reason we came to Staunton today is that the Department of Education has a program that they're really pushing over the last couple of years, and it is called the Grow Your Own program. You are an example of the kind of people they want in the Grow Your Own program, but as I learned as we were talking about this a little while ago, that's not actually how you got into this. It was through this program, but what that program does is to encourage administrators to look out to the staff they have and the people in their community to attract people to the education profession to become teachers. And Mr. Brown, I know that you identified Mr. Aaron early on as somebody who you thought would be a good addition to your staff, and I just want to ask you, how did you first get to thinking that, maybe nothing wrong with being a custodian. We need custodians. They're the second most important person or the first most important person in the building. But, how did you go through the process of saying there might be another role for Mr. Aaron?
Mr. Aaron started first as a part-time custodian for us, and he was filling in, and, I had all different kinds of staff from all over the building coming and saying, hey, you really need to find a way to get this guy on full-time. And we talked, and I said, hey, if the position's yours if you want it, and I think he played hard to get for a little while. He said, "Wow, I'll think about it. I got to make that decision." And we were really excited when he notified us that he was willing to kind of come on full time. We viewed him as a Ware Tiger all along, just because he fit in perfectly with us, and we just have really stayed on top of kind of his journey, because I had mentioned earlier when we were talking before we got started recording, he just has this insane ability to connect with kids, all kids, at any point in time. We work a lot. If a kid makes a bad choice here, we want them to learn from that. And I know Mr. Aaron has had a lot of good conversations with kids who've maybe made a mess in the bathroom or thrown food in the cafeteria. And, we want that response and that kind of consequence to make sense. So we would work together so that, students could help Mr. Aaron clean up the mistake that they made. And, I was able to hear him make these really profound statements and have these really genuine conversations with kids about the impact of their actions on others. And I thought, man, he just has this knack of working with kids. And I saw an even more intentional tenderness with some of our students in our exceptional learners classroom who may be nonverbal or communicate differently. It takes a big heart to work with individuals of that level of need. And he's kind of shown that all along. So as soon as we knew something was coming up, we started having some conversations about it to see if he was interested. And I think it had fallen in line with some internal conversations he was having with himself about what he wanted his next steps to be. And things just, they happened, and easily one of the best hires I've ever made, for sure.
And I want to step back for a second from talking about finding new teachers from your your immediate surroundings, and just talk to you about school. What was school like for you as a kid? What do you remember?
Well, when I was in elementary school and in middle school, I was in they called it Signet back then. That was the gifted education program. And, I didn't really do all that great in school after middle school. I got a little bit burned out on it. By the time I got to high school, I don't know, it could have just been my age, but there wasn't a lot that I was very excited about. I've always liked to read. I read copiously, and after a certain point, I wasn't reading about the kind of things that I felt like I wanted to learn about. Later on,
always the danger with a gifted student, right? You have your own ideas sometimes.
Got to keep them interested. And after several years of growing, getting into my adult years and deciding that the jobs that I was working, which were labor and restaurant jobs, all good work, but really not the challenge that I was looking for, I decided that public service would be something that I would want to get into. And my experience in elementary school and middle school and in high school was that kids with disabilities or special needs were kind of hidden away or not very visible to the rest of the school community. And one of the things I liked about coming here was that the kids are well integrated into the classes. So in a way, this is an opportunity to improve my understanding of what my own elementary school, middle school, high school education was all about, and see a better way going forward for assisting kids that have disabilities or special needs.
So you sort of intuited this idea of inclusion probably before you knew what it was, right?
I think so, and being here has really helped to cement that for me. I'm really grateful to Mr. Brown and the staff here for the way they look out for the exceptional learners here and try to get them involved with everything that the neurotypical kids are doing, and they do a great job of it.
Yeah. So how about you? What was your school experience like, Mr. Brown?
I struggled in school. I was product of a single parent household, and my mom worked 2 and 3 jobs often to just keep food on the table and pay bills and all that stuff. And that meant that I ran around a lot on my own. I grew up in the back of her hair salon, which was a different kind of education for sure. But I struggled a little bit and had some attention issues for a really long time, and grew up feeling not always worthy of education, and had some bad experiences with a high school counselor that, steered me away from college, that I didn't have, as eighth grade, my high school was grades 8 through 12, and was told going into eighth grade that I wasn't going to be able to make it in college. And I remember how defeated I felt. And, the flip side of that was Miss Comer in the 11th grade, where things started to make sense for me, and she made me feel smart. And that was the first time probably since elementary school that I had felt smart. And I said, man, this individual has such insane power, and educators have such power to make or break somebody's life. And I decided in that moment, after a research project and debate activity that Ms. Comer had set up, that I wanted to go into education. And taught high school for 8 years and loved it, but felt like I had the opportunity, or wanted the opportunity, to make a bigger impact. And the elementary position opened up here at the school for an assistant principal, and I said, well, I'll go do that, and when something with the high school opens back up, I'll go back over there. And I've never looked back, just because elementary is just such an awesome experience. And Ware is really a special place, and you'll probably hear us refer to that a couple different times, but it's just an awesome place to work. It's an awesome place for kids to come to school. We don't forget that the first thing that kids should do is feel loved and feel welcomed and seen. And so that's at the forefront of everything that we do.
I think that what you talked about, both good and bad, right? How much power people in a school building, be it a guidance counselor or a teacher or an administrator, have. Do you have some people in your educational past that, either good or bad, who influenced your attitude towards school?
I did. Elementary school particularly. My fifth grade teacher, Miss Cheryl Fry, was a really excellent teacher, and she took a kid that was maybe acting out a little bit just because he was bored or distracted, and helped keep me focused and helped to challenge me. And even over the summers, for a couple of summers, tutored me in math so that I was going to be able to make it in middle school even. And I kept in touch with her after elementary school, after middle school, and she passed away during, I think, my freshman year of high school. But she was a wonderful woman, and she really helped keep me sorted out and keep me motivated.
We all have those people, right? And so, Billy, in terms of like the nuts and bolts of this, you identify somebody who you think would be great, but there are rules to who gets to be a teacher. And you moved from the custodial space into a classroom space. What was required of you as an administrator to kind of help make that transition happen?
We're really fortunate that we have a superintendent, Dr. Garrett Smith, who really, I think, has a great insight. He never forgot what it was like to be a teacher, and I think that's gone a long way. So he has really entrusted the administrators in the division to know the people in their buildings and to try to empower people that might want to move up in a position, whatever that might be. So we've been having a conversation in Staunton for many, many years about growing our own, and how can we create a pipeline of kids coming out of our own high school to keep them in the area, because then we know they're invested, right? And we're fortunate, we have a couple other staff members in this building who are products of the division, who came back, were IAs here first, have moved into teaching roles, and it's worked well for us, again, because there's investment.
It's also kind of the best job interview you could ever have, right? When you hire somebody right out of school who you don't know, you have a feeling, but you haven't seen them interact with students, right?
Oh, absolutely. And I think that's a part of the job that we're pretty good at here, and there have been tremendous flops that we have had. So, when I went to the superintendent and I said, hey, by the way, Mr. Aaron and I are having some conversations, and, he's interested in getting into the classroom. It's pretty cool for the superintendent to be really excited about that and say, oh my gosh, that stinks. You're going to have to find a good custodian, because Mr. Aaron was phenomenal at that job as well. But to know that we have an opportunity for somebody who here is invested and has shown their worth, has shown their commitment and their desire to make an impact on kids, regardless of position. Yeah, it's a no-brainer. So fortunately, we're able to be entrusted to make the right decision about what's best for our schools and not focus as much on red tape or other things like that.
And that said, though, Mr. Aaron, there is some stuff you've got to do now, right? I mean, you've got to have a license at some point. You've got to get in front of the kids. What's your process? What's your roadmap now to being a fully fledged teacher, I guess?
Well, right now, as an instructional assistant, I've got some training coursework that I need to complete. That'll be something that I'm finishing up this month. There will be different certifications that are required. I'm beginning college in the fall, working on a special education bachelor's.
And this is at Mary Baldwin?
That's correct. And I'm looking forward to that. That's a 4-year program. I'm going to get a lot of information. I'm going to learn a whole lot. And I'm really pleased that I'm able to learn on the job a little bit so that the concepts and the curriculum won't be completely foreign to me as I'm in school. And I feel like it's going to give me a leg up. After 4 years of going to school, getting my bachelor's, I aim to get certified as a teacher, and fingers crossed, could be hired as a teacher, whether here at Ware or somewhere in the Staunton City Schools District, with a exceptional learners class of my own to lead.
What is it about working hoping to have an even greater role in the school, but your role now, what is it about working in a school that to you makes it a pretty good job?
Well, part of making the decision to work with our exceptional learners class, to work in special education, was I see that society is not set up for people with disabilities. And one of the things that I thought I might be able to help make a difference in the lives of students that have disabilities is to give them, a caring and genuine leg up on some of the skills they're going to need to get through, middle school, to get through high school, and to get into life. I figure they deserve kids with disabilities deserve a good start just like anybody else. And it means a lot to me to be able to work with dedicated teachers, instructional assistants, administration that really value giving kids with disabilities the best opportunities that they can have. And like I said before, it means a lot to me that the kids here have their peers, their grade level peers, and I've seen that a lot of the students here they really care about and they really look out for some of our kids with disabilities, and they have friendships with them, they include them, they're concerned for them, they know how to assist them even in some ways, because they're used to how the kids behave and how they respond. And I think that's valuable, because the kids coming out of Ware are going to be able to go next door to Shelburne and keep an eye out for their peers, some of whom have disabilities. And that's a gentler way to get started, especially when things can be really frustrating for kids with disabilities, for their families. I just like to be a part of making sure that there's a gentler, safer, kinder start for the people that I will be serving. And it means a lot to me to be able to aim myself towards being a teacher, because I have a lot of ideas that I think will be able to help, but I'm also just really grateful to be in an environment that values kids with disabilities.
Yeah, I think people who haven't worked in a school, when we see outside people maybe not being as kind about what educators are in it for, until you've spent time in a good school where there's a lot of support. And I don't mean a good school where the kids are privileged and all performing highly. It's every school. Any school can be a place that's welcoming to all kids. And I, I haven't spent much time in here. I walked from the parking lot in here, but from the first interaction with the children, I can just tell that this is a school where those feelings exist. And if we're going to attract people to the profession, I think that it's a principal's job and administrator's job and superintendent's jobs to set that up to be the norm. It's been great talking to you guys. I hope to follow you, Mr. Aaron, and see where you are in a few years as you move through your process. And good luck to you as well as we go into the spring of this school year. You guys have anything else you'd like to say?
Go Tigers. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming. We appreciate it.
All right. Well, for Activated Learning, I'm Tom Landon. Thank you guys again for taking the time to be with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're here in the main lobby of the Hotel Roanoke at the VSTE conference, and I'm joined right now by Jody Zeiss. And Jody, tell me where you're from and what your role is there.
I am from Frederick County, and my role is Supervisor of Instructional Technology.
And how many of your folks, have you brought a lot of folks to VSTE this year?
We have about 12, give or take, people here. We have teachers, we have people that are in the tech side of things, and we have some instructional technology coaches here as well.
Well, it's great. I think when you have a mass of people coming to something like this, you actually can feel like it's a little more possible to really make some changes because more people will understand it, right?
Yeah, we've already started our conversations and collaborations over dinner last night.
That's great. And dinner, we forget about the importance of going to a conference. And for a teacher, a lot of teachers don't get to go to them very often. So I'd love to see the looks on teachers' faces, like, we get to go out to dinner, that's great.
We are very appreciative that so many of us were able to attend.
So tell me what you're here to learn.
I'm here to learn two different things. I really want to focus on implementing AI strategically and safely with a method for us to follow first with our secondary teachers. And then also I want to learn more about data privacy and data safety in general. That's part of our team's responsibility, and we want to focus a little bit more on that.
And was there a session yesterday that you just went, oh, wow, yeah. I hadn't thought of it that way.
I went to all but one session that I felt that way coming out of. They really helped me think about we need to stop just focusing on teachers who are excited and find ways to work our way into those who just are putting technology off to the side and really encouraging them and giving them a little sparkle of the magic.
That's great, a sparkle of the magic. I love it. And what are you here to share?
I am here to share all of the collaborative ways that our district implements computer science into instructional technology, and also I just came out of a session where I was able to share ways that our school strategically implements the review process for online products.
This is Activated Learning from Blue Ridge PBS in partnership with the Virginia Department of Education and in collaboration with VSTE. If you like what you hear, subscribe to Activated Learning wherever you get your podcasts. If you've got an idea for an upcoming show, let us know at activatedlearning@blueridgepbs.org.
Activated Learning was created by Blue Ridge PBS in partnership with the Virginia Department of Education and in collaboration with the Virginia Society for Technology and Education. Produced by Tom Landon, Director of Educational Innovation at Blue Ridge PBS, with a lot of help from graphic and audio designer Jay Prater, podcast studio producers Andy Depew and Kurt Schruth, and Vice President of Education Dr. Rose Martin. Our theme music was composed and produced by Ryan Champney and Dr. Matt Katatachea of VSTE.